or really anybody that counts on those resources, not just for football, but for other sports, that could wipe out an athletic department. So, yeah, I would imagine that would be part of it.
Urban Meyer joining us. I've said recently, Mel Kiper came out and said Joe Burrow is a better prospect than Trevor Lawrence. And I said, boy, that feels like a lot of recency bias to me, is that there's some things about Joe Burrow I love, but I do think he's been a little bit of a one-hit wonder. And is that a fair criticism where, everything works for a season? You got a really good team, a really good offensive line. It just kind of the schedule works or whatever. Do you think that's a fair concern about Joe Burrow that, he was in college for a long time and he didn't even pop until the last year and the second year at LSU?
Yeah, Colin, I don't believe that's criticism. I think that's factual. He a one-hit wonder. I mean, that's better than a no-hit wonder. I mean, he had arguably the best season in the history of college football. Yes, he was on a great team, but you can't – when you really study his film of the throws he made, that wasn't a bunch of wide-open guys now. He placed that ball. He scrambled. He kept plays alive. So, yeah, it was a one-hit wonder. He's a little bit later developing, but I don't look at that as concern. That's factual. Trevor Lawrence has had a 3-year, his freshman, sophomore, and to be his junior year. He's had, if he puts together a year, that's a 3-hit or 3 years. So there is risk involved. And I would say this about Joe: if it wasn't what happened, it would be a major risk. But reality is he had arguably the greatest season in history a quarterback's ever had. And that overrules the fact that he only did it for 1 year. So there is a risk involved, and I didn't see Mel Kiper's list, but if Trevor Lawrence has a big time year, which I imagine he will, it'd be hard not to say that he's right there with Joe Burrow, or maybe better. We'll see what happens.
Jarrett Stidham, according to a report this morning, New England's all in on Jarrett Stidham. If I recall, you recruited Jarrett Stidham, did you not?
We did. He's out of Stevensville, Texas, one of the best high school programs in America. We didn't get real far with him. I can't recall exactly what happened, but I remember watching his high school film. Very high on him. He started off at Baylor and went to Auburn. The one thing, as I have said many times here in the last couple of weeks, the common denominator of every great quarterback, he's on a great team. The great quarterbacks that go to bad teams all of a sudden become bad quarterbacks. And it's hard for me at times to understand the media and often the fans. They have a bad team, so it's the quarterback's fault. And you look around, and it happened at Alex Smith his first few years in New England or at San Francisco. So I think Jarrett Stidham, he put him with Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniel, that system. I think get ready for I can't say he's going to be the next Tom Brady, but get ready. I'm sure he'll have a great. He did it with Matt Castle. He did it, obviously, with Tom Brady and, the quarterback at the 49ers.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, Garoppolo. I mean, they're gonna make that quarterback a good player.
So we talk about first-round wide receivers over the last 5 years. There's been 3 times as many busts as hits. And so, you look at the first round, and we know some of these guys are not going to work. The name that keeps coming up from my people is Isaiah Simmons. Arizona took him. And he's obviously a tremendous athlete. But do you think he would be a hard guy to coach because he's Derwin James, but not that good a safety? He's Honey Badger, but is he that instinctive? What is Isaiah Simmons as a pro?
Well, I stood on the field and watched him. I also sat in some meetings as Ohio State got ready to play him. He's the all-purpose guy. It matters. I think he's a great talent. I think how they use him is going to be key. And everyone looks for, I saw the Saints having a conversation about the Stevens and the hybrid player that can do multiple things for you. We would always look for that Percy Harvin or a multiple position player that gives you great flexibility, that he can go play a outside linebacker, play safety, who knows, could play a nickel. And I just think he's a great talent, and how they use him is going to be key. can he play every snap as a deep middle safety? That remains to be seen because Clemson did do that with him.
Yeah. There's another guy in the first round, Damon Arnett, cornerback, Ohio State. There was a report a couple teams didn't have him on the board, character issues. What do we know about those character issues?
I know it all. It was more maturity issues. We always felt like he went to St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the best high school programs in America. He had some of that, stuff in him that we had to get out of him, and he had maturity issues. He's without doubt first-round talent because he fits right in with those 6 or 7 first-round corners that came out of Ohio State. He was just behind mentally. He was behind maturity-wise. I think the key to him was what kind of coach, position coach, not head coach, what kind of position coach and what kind of room do you put Damon in. If Damon's in, you have a Malcolm Jenkins-type player, just a grown man and a bunch of people that, a bunch of athletes and players and a real strong position coach, I think he's going to thrive. You put him in a situation where that's not the case, there are concerns. I love Damon, but there are concerns.
September 3rd or 4th, Labor Day weekend's the start of college football. How many weeks minimum would you need to get your guys ready?
I've actually had some conversations, and the number that keeps coming up is 6 weeks. Football, you have safety issues involved, and 6 weeks, which puts you around that July 16th number that gives you time to get a team ready. And that's the conditioning, that's the football is such a complex game, but the most important thing is the health and safety, because, a lot of these places, majority of them are going to deal with 80, 90-degree heat. To get those kids used to running, they have to be on the move. 6 weeks out is kind of a number that we've come up with.
It's interesting. I thought about the college football season being in the spring, and I thought, who maybe wouldn't want a college football season in the spring is an Ohio State, a Notre Dame, SEC, Clemson, because you have the most pro NFL players. And I could see some kids saying, I'm not playing in February or March because if I get hurt, I can't get physically right for the combine. So what do you think about these suggestions of moving it to the spring? I think if I was Ohio State's coach and I got 9 NFL guys, some guys may not want to play if the season goes to late March, right?
I agree with you 100%. If that happens, the majority of college football, I think, would be, once again, it's hard to just visualize that, too, how that works. You have college basketball going on, and then you have fast turnaround, you have spring, you have kids that have to declare for the draft, kids that are graduating early that would have to now be eligible to get into grad school. There's so many hoops to jump, but what you just said that's not maybe, that's a fact. If you're a potential high draft pick, will you really go put on shoulder pads and a helmet and play college football in January or February? I would say no.
Urban, USC changed their defensive staff. It got younger, and they've had a very good last month in recruiting. Very good. After a couple of very weak recruiting years. And it's interesting. I've had some friends, and they're saying, well, what's going on down there? And I said, they just got younger. And I don't know how good the coaches are, but they're really good recruiters. And when you were selecting a staff, would you have guys that you thought were B coaches but A recruiters, and then mix that with some A coaches and maybe B recruiters? Is it a balance, or did recruiting matter with every coach?
I think when you're at schools where you can't pay or pay the market value of an elite recruiter / coach, but the Ohio States, the USCs, the Texas, the SEC, the Clemsons, you should be able to. I certainly when I was at Utah, you just could not hire the all-purpose coach. At Ohio State, I never, absolutely not. If you better be. It's very easy. Are you the best recruiter at your position in America? If not, then we got a problem. We got to get this thing fixed.
Wow.
So we were all over that. When you have to, but you're also paying them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I think, I would be shocked at the upper 15 schools in America that say we would accept that because I don't know how you. Then you're probably not winning. Recruiting. Every conversation in college football starts with recruiting and it ends with recruiting. Everything else inside is important, but the recruiting piece is that, and then you can see who's going to continue winning. All you have to do is watch who they're recruiting.
Yeah. Good talking to you, Coach. Are your beaches open in Sarasota?
Yeah, they're open now, and I know you spent time in Naples. And
oh, love it.
I'll tell you what, man, I've never spent more than 4 days down here, and this is really beautiful area.
Yes, it is, Coach, especially when the beaches are open. Yes, it is. Urban Meyer, good talking to you, Coach.
Take care, Colin.
Yeah, beaches are open in some areas. They're not open, actually, Joy, in where we live in L.A. County.
No.
But I think, isn't it Friday, our governor is opening some stuff up. You know what I really miss? It's crazy. No, it's not crazy. But what I've really found, because my life, I'm working out. I go home and I jog. I read. I hang out with my dogs. I jump in the pool. I walk around the neighborhood. I get workouts. I lift weights. I'm doing everything. What I'm not able, and I don't shop, so I don't care. The only thing right now, and I'm seeing more of my kids than ever, so it's great. Some of this has been just amazingly beneficial for my relationships.